This is a stove video. What we're looking at today is the JetBoil Zip versus the Primus Lite Plus. Double barrel camp stove action here at the Nantahala Outdoor Center just outside of Bryson City, North Carolina. Let's get cooking. Hey, Chef Corso, Outdoor Eats. I'm here to put you on the path to amazing meals on your outdoor treks, and this is a stove video, this is a pot video. The fine folks at Primus and JetBoil sent me some stoves to check out, and I am excited to compare these two for me and for you because they are very, very similar in their construction. Their burners are very similar as well as their size and their weight. So what we're going to do today is take a look at the specs of both the JetBoil Zip and the Primus Lite Plus, see how that looks, see how that compares, and also cook up a recipe in both of these to see how they work. What I've noticed for these chimney style stoves is that you can cook on them, but you have to be a little bit more selective of your recipes. And the reason for that is the bottoms have a tendency to scorch a little bit, and it's really hard to get to the bottom of them and stir them. So what we're making for our recipe is a soup. And cooking soups in these chimney style stoves is a great option to still cook up something tasty on the trail while not having to scorch the bottom or burn your dinner. First, let's take a look at the JetBoil Zip or the specs. Next, let's take a look at the specs for the Primus Lite Plus. One thing I want to note here as far as sizing of the actual burner, they are very, very similar. It looks like the Primus is a slightly smaller radius of the circle here, but they're very, very similar in their construction, their flame, and their styling. Both of these do have some pot and pan integration, which is really, really nice. They're both light and secure nicely. And this JetBoil also has a little bit as well, which for me is something I look for. I want a little bit of integration here so that it can lock in, because a lot of these camp stoves tend to be kind of tippy. And when they're just nested on top, or the tripod options, they really have a tendency to slide or are really, really slick. So I do love having some integration that can lock it in there and give us some stability when we're cooking. For both of these stoves, they do have options to not use the pot. So if you do want to use a little campy camp skillet, both have some extra attachments and extra pieces that can attach and be able to give you a little bit of spacing between your burner and your skillet. So that's a really nice option. The recipe that we're making for our test here today is a tom kha soup, a great, tasty, flavorful backpacker recipe, and this actually is in my new cookbook, Fresh Ultralight, the Cedar Edition. All the recipes range from 2.5 ounces to 8 ounces per serving. Really easy pack weight and super, super tasty, and that is available now. So check that out, and I'll put the details in the show notes below. Let's take a look at our ingredients for our tom kha soup. And what I have done with this recipe is oftentimes I'll use rice noodles, but today I am using instant rice. And what we have is some peanut butter powder, we have some coconut milk powder, garlic powder, ginger, some salt, a little bit of rice vinegar, some sriracha or your favorite chili paste, and I do have a fresh ingredient, some mushrooms. You can also add some snap peas, a little fresh squeeze of lime, some other veggies, some TVP, textured vegetable protein, or even a chicken packet. Both of these do have drainage holes, so if you're looking to cook up some pasta and drain it, that's definitely available for you. Both housings are incredibly similar as far as size and weight. The JetBoil does have a neoprene outside to kind of protect your hands when you're cooking, and is fully removable, so if you are looking to do a deep clean at the end of your trip, you can definitely do that. And nice big handle. And very similar for the Primus. The big difference here is that it is Velcro and the inside is cork, which is interesting. The outside is, they do note it is a bioplastic, if that is important to you. And both of these secure really, really easily and really nicely for some nice pot and pan integration. Let's cook this thing up. All right, let's give this a taste. Wow, really, really flavorful broth. I like having that little bit of peanut butter powder in there, but that's definitely optional. We've got a little bit of acidity, a little bit of spice. That ginger is running through here, the garlic powder, the coconut milk powder, and the mushrooms in there really give me that corner Thai experience. Instant rice to bulk it up. Super, super tasty. Yum. Final thoughts on our two stove systems here, the JetBoil Zip and the Primus Lite Plus. I think both have some positives. They are incredibly similar in their construction, in their capacity, in their styling. I mean, just look at them. They fit both right in the palm of my hand. They got the nice handles there. You know, I think for the JetBoil, I like their inset for cooking on a skillet a little bit better. For the Primus, there's these little pieces that are helpful for getting a little bit of space for your skillet, but I think I'm gonna lose them in like the first trip or two. So that's something to note. I do kind of like the cork. That's just random and, you know, slightly more eco-friendly, even though there is some plastic housing here as well. So that's sort of an interesting thing. As far as simmering, I think the Primus did a little bit better. For pot and pan integration, it's basically a push. They both secure in there really, really nicely. So it's up to you if you want to consider either one of these stoves for your next hiking or backpacking trip. Both are really, really solid. I will say, as well as I'm holding the Primus a little bit more and playing around with it a little bit more, I feel like the construction of the Primus is slightly better than the JetBoil. This feels a little bit lighter and maybe going to dent a little bit more than the Primus. That's just my sort of personal preference here, holding them by the river. But both really, really solid options and nice smaller capacity options for cooking for 1 or 2 people. Thanks for coming along for my stove system test of the JetBoil and the Primus. You know, get out there, make this great Tom Kha recipe, make another Thai recipe. There's such great flavors on the trail. Boca boca. I'm doing great. I'm rolling here. Nice. All right. Let's call it Akshina. This is a stove video. What we are looking at today is we are looking at the JetBoil Zip. Let me get a little tighter. Okay.